What's going on, guys? So I had some folks recently ask me, what in the heck is that platform above your garage out at your new property? Well, let's go take a look up there and I'll show you what it's all about. Hang tight, I'll be right back. So most people probably surmised that it is an upper deck on top of the garage, which it is. But I've never walked you up here so you can actually see it. So let's go ahead and take a quick stroll up this platform, which is about 23 feet off the ground roughly. But it gives you a really good perspective of what's going on out here. See the fifth wheel out there, truck's down below. This is what it looks like up here. There's the pond. I am trying to drain that pond because I want to put a new liner in it so I can throw some new fish in there. But it is draining slow because it is drained to the point that the existing liner is, and it's draining much, much slower than it was. Coming around this way. Here's a little fountain down here. Back there is where we did all the fence replacement. See all the tops of the trees. It is absolutely beautiful out here. And if you noticed, I moved my dad's Class B and the two trailers over there. I cut the grass down to like an inch, so it's really, really low. Then I sprayed it with some weed killer and some grass killer. Then I sprayed it with some insecticide, just so I don't have any, bugs out there. And then I put down some snake away, some mouse and rat repellent, all sorts of stuff. Very cool, huh? All right, so we are here in the little covered area next to the pond. I put a bunch of LED little bulb lights up here, and they're solar powered, so I got 3 solar panels right here. I have some lights going around the perimeter and then kind of connected all underneath this area. Such a cool little space. Here's a closer look at the pond, which is, again, slowly draining. You can see the liner right around the edge here. I got to replace this liner. So this pond is about 60 feet long. May not look like it in the picture, only because I'm on a wide angle camera. But if you walk to one end, yeah, it's about 60 feet long. The reason I can tell is because I know how long my fifth wheel is, which is 42 feet, and this is significantly longer. And the distance from here to here is about 40 feet. So yeah, it's a pretty good size little pond, but it's something that we're trying to figure out exactly what we want to do with. There's a ton of foliage in here. I mean, just completely full of leaves from all of these live oaks that surround it. Yeah, we're working on it. This is a work in progress. But the point of today's video is to, I guess, finally make a video addressing the question people ask time and time again. And for the most part, I don't think it's that big of a deal for a lot of folks, but for some folks it is. And that's why I don't show my face on camera. Now, whether or not you accept this excuse is entirely up to you all. Whether or not you believe what I'm about to tell you is entirely up to you all. But what I'm telling you is factual, and it's something that I deal with, and I think a lot of YouTubers probably deal with. So I've just chosen to take a bit of a different direction, as long as possible at least. So folks ask me all the time, are you super ugly? Do you have a horn growing out of your head? Do you have 3 eyes? Why don't you show your face on video? And the real answer to that is really because I have kids. And what does that have to do with it? Well, I've done enough collaborations with other YouTube channels, including some channels that have well over 1 million subscribers. And one of the things I typically ask a lot of them is, at what point did you feel comfortable, kind of coming out and showing your face on video? And a lot of them said, well, my videos kind of started with me showing my face. So, once you let that genie out, you can't really put it back in. However, a lot of them regret the fact that they are shown on video now. And the reason why is mainly if they have kids. Because all of a sudden, you're put in a situation and you're putting your family in a situation where you may be seen in public, or you might be seen somewhere and people feel the need to come up and approach you. Now, 99.99% of my viewers are absolutely phenomenal people. They're great people. And if they came up to me in a crowd, I would be absolutely, honored to have someone who watches my channel and subscribes to it come up to me, and I'd shake their hand and really appreciate it. But there's always that very small percentage of people that aren't quite that way. And it's a very, very small percentage of folks that can put you in some really, really awkward positions and unsafe positions, especially with children. Let me give you an example. When my channel was only at about 25,000 to 30,000 subscribers, I was caught in this really awkward situation where I was taking my daughter to school. And en route to her school, I had a vehicle that cut me off. The gentleman was waving his arm out the window, trying to get me to pull over. Now, I have a young daughter in the back of my vehicle that is scared at this point. She's terrified and wondering what's going on. The vehicle in front of me is slowing down. We're on a highway, and this vehicle is just trying to get me to pull over. And I don't. I take an alternate route. I drop my daughter off at school, and I found out later that the person was a fan of the channel and they simply wanted to pull over so they could shake my hand or get an autograph. But how would you feel in that situation if you have your daughter with you, or your son, or a family member who's innocently just wanting to go to school, doesn't care about the fame, doesn't care about any of this stuff, and all of a sudden you're in a situation where somebody's trying to actively pull you over in traffic? Another situation, I had a motorcyclist who did a U-turn in the median of an interstate while I was towing a trailer and started riding beside my truck, to the point where they kept trying to get me to roll my window down. It was just such an awkward situation on an interstate, going 70 miles an hour, towing a trailer, a motorcyclist who cut through the median. I'm talking about, you know, the wide 50-foot median, however wide it is. They cut through the median, caught back up to me on a sport bike. This wasn't even an off-road or a Harley or anything. It was a sport bike. Visor down. I have no idea what's going on. They're trying to get me to roll my window down and pull over. And you know, for a lot of folks, you would think that, well, maybe you have a flat tire, maybe you have some other issue and they're trying to notify you of it, which I get that. I can understand that, but I didn't. I didn't have a flat tire. I had just gotten on the interstate probably 10 minutes earlier, and this person finally gets in front of me. They pull their smartphone out and they hold it with my opening screen while they're riding on a motorcycle on an interstate in front of me. And they hold it up in front of my vehicle so I can see that they're watching the channel. Another scenario that happened, which was a really, really interesting one. Me and my family were out at a restaurant. We weren't even in my truck. We were in my wife's Expedition, and it was parked in the parking lot. So imagine how many stone gray Expeditions there are in this world. There are a ton of them. They're a very plain looking vehicle, honestly. And this couple comes in and they start going table to table to table, and interacting with people at each table. They didn't look like they were bad or violent people, but there were probably 60 to 70 tables in this restaurant. It was Olive Garden. And they finally get to our table and they say, hey, do you know who owns that Expedition out there? And we're like, oh, yeah, that's ours. Thinking somebody probably broke into it. Maybe they bumped into it in the parking lot. And they said, you wouldn't happen to have a red truck too, would you? I was like, yeah. And then they said, oh man, I subscribe to your channel. I'm a big fan. You know, there's certain situations that just make you really uncomfortable. And those situations, especially when my children are around, especially when my family, they're just not situations I've wanted to subject my family to. So a little bit of privacy is all that I've kind of built in. Now, I've done enough collaborations. I've worked with enough vendors and enough sponsors, and I've been to enough events where people see me, they catch me. And like I said, 99.99% of people who subscribe to my channel, watch my channel, you know, even hate my channel, they're very respectful in person. They come up, they say, hey, you know what, I like your stuff. I've been watching your channel for a while, thank you. They'll shake my hand, or they'll actually say, you know what, I'm not a big fan of your channel, but you know, I like some of the stuff you do. And they're just respectful. They're good people. They don't pose any type of risk to me or my family. And for the most part, again, my viewership, the people who watch my channel are very mature. They're very, you know, good. They're humble people. They're workers. They're people that you know, take pride in the things they own. They're people that love to RV. They love to be out with their family. The challenge that I've had is trying to open up more information about my family in a way that puts them possibly at risk. That's all it is. You know, do I need to show my face on video? No. I've always believed that my video should be about the content, not about the person. I've never tried to get famous on my channel. For me, I try to show everything in a humble light. I try to show everything in a way that makes you all feel like I'm giving you the honest truth about what I'm presenting, and I'm not trying to sugarcoat anything. But I do know that there are folks out there, and there is an expectation that, you know what, if you're on YouTube, you're in this public light anyways, you're on this open forum, and you should show who you are, because I don't trust what you're saying unless I see the person behind the camera. You know, it's funny that people feel that way about my YouTube channel, but you can watch documentaries all day long on TV and you don't ever see who's behind the camera. You might see them in the credits if you watch the credits, but for the most part, you're trusting what you're hearing, not because you're just hearing it, but because you're typically smart enough to know or to research through Google and through all the other channels and through all the other resources out there, whether or not the person is saying something that's true or not. So, you know, when I review a product, right, if I review something, even if it was provided to me, you guys that have been watching my channel for a long time know that even if a product was provided to me, it does not mean it's going to get a rubber stamp of approval. I've gotten in plenty of situations where I've had companies that said, you know what, we gave you something, why on earth are you going to bash it? And I said, I'm not bashing anything. I'm just telling my viewers what it's about. I'm actually giving them the factual information about it, and I'm not just coming up with rhetoric. If you guys want to sponsor a video and you want to say, you know what, this is a product that we're trying to sell, I'm still going to give my honest opinion on it. And if you don't want that, I won't accept the sponsorship. If you don't want me to provide information that's factual based off of what I've already researched and stuff that I've seen and done, then I'm not going to give you an endorsement. I don't need a sponsorship so bad that I'm going to sell my soul for one. You know, even like, for instance, when SimpliSafe sponsored, well, I've been using SimpliSafe systems for years. I've had them on several properties, and when they wanted to sponsor a video, I was like, yeah, sure, you know, I like your product. I don't need to make up anything about it because I've been using it. And that's similar with a lot of other products that I've viewed, such as the Reese Goose Box. Reese sponsored a video. They said, you know what, you use the Goose Box, give your opinion of it, and if you could just, you know, mention these talking points about how it functions. The funny thing was, those are all talking points that I would mention anyways, because I actually threw a lot of the ideas about that product that they actually implemented into the second generation of it. It was an easy sponsorship because I already trusted in the product. So again, if you feel that you can't watch my channel or that what I say is BS simply because I don't show my face, well, I apologize, but you have other resources that you can use to either corroborate what I say or completely go against it or to bash what I say. But what I can tell you is I'm always going to provide you my gut honest truth about a product. I'm not going to sugarcoat it just because you know, a company wants to sponsor it or provide it to me. And again, I've burned bridges. I have had companies that say, you know what, why would you say that when we gave you a product? And I just reply back to them, before we even got started with this, I told you I'm going to give the honest truth about whatever I talk about. Anyways, guys, I sure hope this video adds some clarification to some things. And I'm going to say it again, 99.999% of you all are absolutely amazing people. And I would have no problem meeting you in person, shaking your hands and letting you know that I appreciate your viewership on my channel. I really do. But there is always that very small percentage of folks who I guess feel that they can do some very interesting things to try to get my attention or try to, get me to talk to them, that pose a safety risk for my family that I just don't want to introduce if I don't have to. Anyways, guys, I sure hope you've enjoyed this video. If you haven't had a chance, I'd really appreciate it if you took a moment, subscribe to my channel, give me a thumbs up, and I will talk to you again very soon.